Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. I think I have a decision to make. Which is, Leopold of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha is a little bit of a ticking time bomb, by which I mean he's going to be, the throne's going to be inherited by Prince Leopold II, who is a royalist aligned with the Petite Bourgeoisie, and he is very young, so he's going to be reigning a long time, which means I think I got to make a mad dash for a republic. Under my current structure, I think the best laws are probably going to be presidential republic. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to simply rely on the French to help us win the inevitable civil war based on the number of people who oppose this thing. They're all big mad. We're going to get an anti-movement really, really soon. And we will simply rely on the assistance of our allies, the French, to bring this war to a successful conclusion. We'll see how much of the country is going to go with the... Yeah, here we go. So yeah, this movement is extremely revolutionary. I'm not going to put any particular effort into getting it to de-radicalize, so let's see. Territories are actually pretty low. Only Holland is going to go for sure, but of the others, only Gelre and Friesland have a chance of going, and at this point they might not, which is really interesting. Anyway, you're going to see some revolutionary events today. Hey, there's dynamite. Excellent. I'm actually going to swap over all my mine production methods to use that. Shabamzo, 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 and I know you're going to be surprised by this. Shabamzo. And then we're going to swap the explosives factories over to using vacuum evap method, and that's going to produce a bunch more explosives. Booming industries. With the recent expansion in both the production and consumption of explosives in our country, there's been much debate on whether the military or the industrial sector should have priority. Why should we worry about how much dirt we can move when we should be thinking about how to defend our country? All you can think about is starting more wars. We should put this to use for our workers instead. They're more important. Our options are we should try to support both industries, which gives us extra explosives factory throughput. We can give the industrial sector priority, which gives extra mine throughput. Or we can give the military sector priority, which gives extra munitions plants throughput. I'm going to go with the mines. That might be a mistake. I almost always do it, but I have been having some issues with munitions plants this run, but hey, Lamau, let's not worry about it. Oh, actually, before we do this, I might, yes, I can turn the Marina Kingdom into a dominion, and that'll be nice. I'm going to go ahead and hit that button. Shabamzo, and that puts them at 72. But it gives us a nice, healthy, diplomatic pact income line item of 2K per week, which is not much, but it will be more as time goes on. The street side standoff. Troops in Holland have reported more and more confrontations with belligerent mobs. Fighting will likely break out soon, even if nothing is ordered. There's only two ways to control the situation. Either pull the troops back or tell them to engage. The soldier shuffled nervously where he stood, shifting the weight of his gun back and forth as he stared at the crowd stirring far too close by. He thought he recognized some of those faces. Or he would have, if they weren't twisted in utter loathing of him and his uniform. What was he even doing? Was he standing with the right people here? Order a withdrawal from Holland. Extra state penalties from turmoil, 50-50 chance of civil war going up or down. Or the army and the people are one and the same. Let them talk it out. Oh, that's interesting. So this is available because we have a national militia. There's a different version of this available for professional army. But here's what this one does. 33% chance, 10% of servicemen pops in the country become radical, and progress of civil war goes up, or 2% pops in the country from all interest groups for all professions, become more loyalist and change progress of civil war down. I'm going to go with the second one. Let's see if it works. Hey, it did. Nice. That'll give us a nice little boost of loyalists, or at least a reduction in radicals. Super pleased by how that event turned out. That's really interesting. It always felt like National Militia should have a different version of that that makes it better, but, so I'm glad to see that it went this way. Wow, this is taking a really, really long time. I might want to cut some consumption taxes to give myself extra authority just to speed up this process. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. These, at least the one on tea is not producing that much revenue for the government. So that's helpful. That makes this a little bit less good, but not that big of a deal. In the hands of the head of the state. Did he smash his head into the cell wall? Was he tortured to death? The official story that the Landowners affiliated revolutionary died from cholera convinces only the gullible and the willfully blind. The only thing for certain, his supporters are livid and they are out for blood. It was the Freemasons, I tell you. I've heard it from the butcher down the road that the warden's a member of that accursed cabal. It's them or the Ashkenazi, or both. The Emperor's one of them. That's why they offed him. The Emperor's Ashkenazi? Listen, kid, he says, blowing a cloud of thick smoke into the dimly lit room. There's a lot of things they don't teach you in school. Murderers, cries the crowd, increase the progress of the Civil War. Landowners get a little stronger and angrier. Or, only God knows for sure, let us kindly... only God and the warden knows for sure. Let us kindly ask the latter. 3% devastation, extra radicalism. I'm going to make the landowners a little stronger. It's not going to matter in a minute. Does this increase the risk for those other states? Not really. In fact, it brings it down. Although we are reducing in radicalism over time, which is nice. Again, it's not going to affect the actual revolution, but it is a thing that's happening. I think once we finish with this construction queue, we'll just sort of clear out of the construction queue and build us up a little bit of a surplus, or at least eat into our deficit as we prepare for war with a chunk of the country. Which we are indeed doing. No, I gotta not get distracted. I can't just go conquering places. I've got to be normal about this. I'm shooting for a civil war, gosh darn it. I can't be going buck wild. The procession of provocations. Dissidents in Holland have announced plans for a major march around government offices in the near future. While they profess peaceful intentions and claim everyone will be unarmed, the march itself will obviously serve as a rallying point for those unhappy with the government. That damn parade and that infernal music, I can't even see them from here, but I can hear them loud and clear. Stop that march by any means necessary. 33% chance of pops in Holland becoming more radical, 33% chance of increasing progress for civil war, and 10% of lower stern pops becoming more radical, or 33% chance of reduced civil war progress. Or let the procession go ahead, 50-50 chance. 5% of lower stern pops in Holland become more radical. 50-50 chance of progress of the Civil War forward or backward. I'm going to... The only thing I really care about is radicalism. The first option is 33%, is actually 4% on average of radicalism in Holland. The second option is 5% guaranteed, just mathematically, so I'm going to go with the first one. We have 829k radicals. Let's see how that changes things. Well, I think I got the 10%, unfortunately, but it is what it is. We'll know for next time. Yeah, because I think the revolution progress went up. Anyway, all right, so we're going to have a civil war, and we're going to have it next episode. Or not next episode, I don't know. We're going to have it next time this revolution, Whoozy Mawatsits, ticks over into yes, and we're going to see what places have revolted. Again, I'm really hoping it's only Holland. There's only 25% risk each for Gelre and Friesland, so I'm feeling pretty okay about the situation as a whole. And I might even not need the French helping out, but if I need the French helping out, I'll certainly bring them in. Almost done with this construction queue here. Feeling pretty good about the finances going into the war. Yeah, they're not going to be great coming out of it, but it'll be fine. I'm going to leave the budget where it is for now. Ooh. An agitator appears. Ignace Jotrand. Hopefully he'll join the movement to enact presidential republic. Alright, there it goes. So, interesting. They've gotten two sides of the thing. Alright, I think I am going to need French help for this. I lost one of my generals. That's okay. We'll put this imposing demagogue into power. We'll move him over to the other side. Happily, we've got... I don't know how we have diplomatic access through military access through here, but I know that we do. Alright, so... do we need to mobilize the lads? I think the answer is yes. So this is going to be a big war, a big expensive war, but we'll stop building, and that'll help. On the plus side, we're up to a very high chance of enacting a presidential republic, so that is wonderful. We are potentially going to lose some great power rank, but that'll go away once we finish the war. So, alright. Marina Kingdom is aligning with us, that's obvious. Yeah, I think I'm going to call the French. I don't want to risk anything here. Yep, so they side with us. So this should sort out the situation relatively quickly. Hey, we got to drafting. Wonderful. Yes, again, I think the chances of enacting presidential republic on this are extremely high. On the plus side, our government is now contested, which means this process will go a lot faster. Hey, there's gantry cranes. Excellent. So I am still technically suppressing the Petite Bourgeoisie, which means I am still losing the authority from that, but I think it'll... Interesting. The Austrians are siding against me. Austria, how could you do this? Well, hopefully... maybe they're getting incentivized by the ability to grab something from the French? No, they're just doing it to shoot at the French. Well, that's curious. Hopefully we won't wind up with ourselves in a situation over here. This number is kind of worrying me, but I don't think it will be too bad. I'm going to set this... Oh, never mind. We got French units here, so I can definitely go on attack. And over here, let's put another general in charge of this army because we're going to be developing more troops. We'll grab another Industrialist guy. He's also an offensive planner, so that should be just fine. Interesting. Interesting force comparisons we've got here. Unfortunately, an Austrian army showed up, was showing up, is showing up. All right. This is interesting. This is interesting. This might not go well. Hey, France, do you have a plan to, step in and do stuff? You got a bunch of armies not currently mobilized. Sure would be nice if you to come on in. So they are winning over here. And we are winning over here as well. I think we have a technological advantage on the Austrians, which I think is probably helping. I'm going to set us to defend for now. While these force comparisons sort themselves out. I think also... No, this is the amount of conscription I can afford to do. Although it's weird that the second army, again, is not having any conscripts flowing into it. This is not great. This might be a major error. Hopefully... Where's the Marine Royale? You know what? They were halfway across the world. That was dumb. Oh, I'm so good at things. Alright, so these force comparisons are improving as we win battles on defense around here, which is very good. That actually gives me great confidence that we can pull through on this thing. First Dutch army is a little bit short on manpower. And we are winning an offensive battle in the north with French help. We're losing one over there. Hey, there's postal savings unlocked. Wonderful. Happily, our enemies are really, really low on war support, so hopefully this will not go on much longer, and I can go back to being chill Law progressed to voting. Wonderful. I think if the Civil War ends, we'll just we might potentially just automatically pass this vote. Ooh, we got corporatism spreading. I think corporatism is really good. Let me see if I want to stop and just research corporatism. No, I'll let it spread. I think we're good. I think we're good with where we want to be. Feeling pretty happy about getting Sind and Siak up to solid relations. And feeling pretty good about our finances, too, frankly. We're in the middle of a war with mass conscription completed. There are not battles happening, but... What is this? Austria? What flag is this? A Catholic theocracy? How curious. Oh my goodness. That is wild. Alright, so we've got a third Dutch army that has popped. I'm going to, if I scrap it, these will go to the first Dutch army, which is where they belong. So that's curious. So at this point, the war should end. There it goes. Excellent. Now, why are we short great power rank? Ah, because our production methods are goofed up. There we go. Oh, and now that we've got dynamite, we can make explosive shells, and that should be fine. Alright, and that should... set our standard of living back to where it was, which I'm feeling pretty confident about. Huh. Curious. Now that we've got field works, let's swap over to using iron for our livestock ranches, and that'll be good to go. So, we're now extremely likely to go to a presidential republic. I'm going to stop... Ooh, am I going to stop suppressing the Petite Bourgeoisie? I think I'm not. I think I'm going to leave them suppressed. We have an extremely righteous government, so we're extremely likely to do this. So what do we want next? I think after this, we swap over to a better voting method. I think it's going to be universal. And if we have to fight the Industrialists next, we'll fight the Industrialists next. I don't need a second Dutch fleet. We'll move them into the Marine Royale. Where are we with... I should get Monitor next. I think maybe after these military ones we'll get... Do I want the Monitor more, or do I want the Torpedo Boat more? Torpedo Boat is a light ship. Do I do a lot of convoy raiding? Not that much. Yeah, I think I want the Monitor better. So we'll queue that in as well. Tell you what, before we do all this, I think I actually am going to queue in corporatism. Then we're going to go back and do improved fertilizers. And then repeaters down to hand crank machine gun. Then we'll do Genicol and Monitor, and that'll help us keep up to date on military. Alright, come on, give me Presidential Republic. King Leopold, you did the right thing. I'm very pleased. We're also almost out of our out of debt, which is nice. Hey, stop falling in prestige. I need to increase the Navy. A novel solution. In Ignace Jotrin's body of published works is a popular new book with a vision of what presidential republic might look like. Lawyers affiliated with the Industrialists say the contents are legally sound. Most of the time, fiction is merely that, something to pass the time. Sometimes, a true vision of possibility creeps through. Once in a blue moon. Well-written fiction can change how people think. Every so often from there, however, it might be mistaken for divination. Canvass the public about this light reading. Stronger industrialists. Increased enactment chance. Increased popularity for Ignace Jotrin. Procure a copy with our compliments to the author. Increased success chance. Slightly stronger industrialists. Or fiction should remain entertainment. 5% authority forever. Ooh, fiction should remain entertainment. Shabamzo. Give me that authority. Shove that authority in my mouth. Alright, and hopefully we'll get it this time round. We do have a righteous government, so I'm feeling extremely confident, and hopefully this will allow us to... Wow! We completely canned the number of radicals. Hey, Holland is finally a freaking functioning state. Excellent! If there's anyone from Holland on the stream, I don't mean like... I didn't mean like that. I mean as part of my empire here. There were a lot of problems that... Oh my goodness, Great Britain, what is going on with you? Everyone's got a weird flag. I got a weird flag. Britain's got a weird flag. France has got a weird flag. What is going on? What is going on? Oh, Britain has become an autocracy. His Majesty's government, and he aligns with the landed gentry. Oh, we have a reactionary Britain in the world. That's interesting. What about Prussia? What are you doing? You're still an absolute monarchy, right? Okay. You're doing your usual thing. We do have a reactionary France. They've gone to landed voting. But they haven't gotten all the way back to fully traditionalist institutions yet, which is interesting. Am I still closing? I'm closing in on getting into their power block, which is nice. Let's go ahead and... Industrialists petition government. Oh, this is not great. Representing his constituents in the Industrialists, Edward Van Naste has issued a formal petition to the Dutch government to pass parliamentary republic. My guy, we are doing a presidential republic right now. My guy, what Oh boy, this is dumb. Ugh. Incredible. You get 'em, industrialists. Alright. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and consistently if you would meet with them about new legislation. Oh, is that it? Goodness, you seem as if you've seen a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last hours of the light for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They weren't taking no for an answer. Offer them private schools as a compromise. There's an interesting notion. But I'm actually going to say I can't right now, because I'm probably going to put them out of the government when the time comes. Once I'm done with Presidential Republic, I'm going to boot them out of the government. And then I might just go ahead and have a second civil war immediately. Let's build those ships right now so that we can not find ourselves in a situation. We'll build them all in Holland. In fact, maybe we'll build up just a little bit more. So that we can make sure we're solidly in the range of a great power and not kind of on the edge, which is where I currently am, because I don't want to be on the edge. All right, so from here, let's take a look at our... All right, they are still going down in Liberty Desire, particularly Sind. Well, no, they all are at a pretty solid rate. So Sind is going to be next. That's going to get turned into a Dominion. And that will be just fine. Like I said, hopefully getting a little bit of extra power projection from Navy will get us to stop sort of threatening to be on the other side. It's interesting how much fighting a civil war reduces radicalization. That really sort of shines a light on how bad the AI is at managing its stuff. Because, boy howdy, have I seen AI countries have these cyclical... revolutions where they have a revolution over and over, and it's not great. I wonder if it's mostly down to like discrimination and stuff. It's certainly possible. Breton mass immigration. Wonderful. That's Breton from Brittany. Not a fancy way of saying British, although the etymologies are related, I think. There's a whole thing. The Bretons are I think, a people who live. It's like an ancient Roman word for Britain. All right. The time of Leopold of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha as ruler has ended. Edward Van Naste, the leader of the Industrialists, is now the ruler. So we have reduced authority, and now we have a legitimate government. So let's hit the reform button and see what we can do. If I pull in the rural folk, I can have an extremely legitimate government. Alright, go ahead and confirm, and then it's time to go to universal suffrage. The Industrialists will be salty, but not that salty. They will provide some resistance, but that will simply be what it is. They're currently very happy, so hopefully it won't be too big of a deal. Alright, and the Liberal Party has been formed, splitting up my parties. Alright, cool. So, and the trade unionists want to join with the Liberal Party, which is the intelligentsia. Alright, so interesting. I could put the Liberals out of the government and leave the Industrialists in, but I actually think I'm going to keep it where we are for the moment. I definitely want the trade unions in here, but not, I don't think I can afford to right now. Can I have a government of the entire country? I don't think I can. And I can't have a more legitimate government than I have now without... Well, I do want to put out the Industrialists. So I think we're going to have to do it like this. Happily, it's not that many radicals. So yeah, let's do it. Unacceptable government, maybe. I'm going to drop taxes. That's going to get me 5 extra legitimacy. It is gonna mess up my finances, but that's okay. Because we're doing good. So now we have 0% stall chance, and I think I'll be able to get there. Whistle stop tour. Ooh, we're in an election. Charles Struy intends to travel across Wallonia by train to campaign for the Liberal Party. All I intend to do is present myself to the people. I'm just a simple man trying to get our party's message out by the best means possible. Campaigning by rail is a smart move, extra momentum. Wallonia gets reduced railway throughput, or the fate of the nation depends on that train running in time. Even more extra momentum, increased railway throughput. We'll do the second one, because we want the Liberal Party to have a lot of throughput. Alright, so, vacuum canning. Excellent. Oh my goodness. So, we'll go ahead and swap over to vacuum canning. I know you think you're going to be unprofitable, but you're not. Alright. Anti-Swedish League demands action. The Anti-Swedish League has requested that we establish an embargo against Sweden. Successfully acting on the proposal will gain our government significant goodwill from the lobby. This is actually a bunch of parties. I think I'll do this. And to those who would refuse and prefer preserving the status quo, there was no hesitation. His response sounded well rehearsed because it was. This was a proactive man, one who spent hours pacing his chambers, anticipating attacks to come. My reply would be that we should never have allowed them to become so close to us in the first place. A friendship built upon deceit is nothing at all, and the goodwill gained from it, illusory. We'll look into this, and I think I'm going to do that immediately, because I need the support of those factions. Movement to enact state atheism organizes in Gelra. Apparently, we've got a movement to enact state atheism. Organizers affiliated with the movement to enact state atheism have embarked on a focused campaign to inspire support for state atheism in Gelra. Residents of every region in the world like to say that their home has a long and unique history of tight-knit community. The organizer almost agreed. The problem, of course, was that said community did not often extend to outsiders. He'd been thrown out on his ear more times than he could count, but he persisted nonetheless. If he could introduce the right phrase into the right circles, perhaps even an idea that had been rejected out of hand at first would begin to find purchase. There are plenty of willing ears in Gelra. Extra radicals from standard of living decreases extra pop political strength and increased support, or they must be concerned with former grounded things, no increased support, and half those other things. I'm going to do the second one. I don't necessarily want those things. Alright, so that's the lobby demand completed. That should make my political parties a lot happier, and indeed it has. So I'm very pleased by this. Anti-Swedish action has resulted in a great result. So, let's take a quick look at the election. Agrarian Party is projected to get 40% of the votes, Liberal Party 26%, Free Trade Party 32%. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm optimistic. The election will probably not be until next episode because we're actually at time right now, but I'm feeling pretty good. Let's take another quick look at our vassal states. Sind is almost there, so if they get there within the next few minutes, we'll go there. All right. So there's our movement to preserve wealth voting, but it's pretty weak. Well, they have 29% stall chance, so. Yep, Sweden has started embargoing us. That's not that big of a deal. Hopefully this will not cause too much of a problem. Production and agitation. In collaboration with the Liberal Party, Ignace Jotrand has secured a deal for cheap and quickly distributed pamphlets in support of the party. The interior of the carriage held a pleasant surprise, a crate of several thousand pamphlets printed on an industrial scale, each with instructions on the voting process and a cheaply copied logo of the Liberal Party. They made a hefty weight, and, he hoped, would turn out to be an equally sized benefit. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper, 20% momentum, or these connections could be useful later. Ignace Jotrand gains ambitious. I'm going to bury our opponents in a sea of paper. We'll go with the momentum. So how is that going to affect the election? It is going to turn it a little for the Liberal Party. It has reduced the Free Trade Party just a bit, but not much. And that is all we've got time for today. My nerds, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I'll see you on the other side.